There's a lot of mental behind the scenes things, a lot of things you got to think about and understand and infer and go along with.
All right. The next show we're going to be talking about is Persona 5, the animation.
All right. You didn't watch this one though, did you?
I watched the first episode.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yep.
So
same thing as Trinity. I'm like, I'll watch something else.
I will say, like, the first episode, I had a hard time. I think it's because they threw a lot at you right from the get-go.
Like, I couldn't tell, like, what day was what.
Huge amount of information and everything that came at you right from the start. And it kind of lost me for a little bit. But I gave it at least one more episode, and then one ended up being 2 more episodes. And I kind of... It's interesting. And it reminded me of why I enjoyed the Persona series. It's very relatable, and it kind of it throws a lot of things into different light, and it makes you think. And I wasn't quite prepared with that at first, which is why it threw me for a loop. But then once I kind of settled into it, and I could tell where it was going from and what was happening, then it got more interesting.
Okay.
So it still was a little bit of a trick at first, because apparently the main character had an issue not only where you saw him in his life from the very beginning, but also prior to how that occurred. Mm-hmm. Thing that you're kind of finding out is what, and they don't really describe it all that well, but what happened prior to his life when you start going through the back history wasn't his fault. Mm-hmm. Now, what's happened since then, I believe, is his fault. But I think he's kind of the Robin Hood type character.
Okay.
He's doing good things, but for those who don't know the reasonings behind it and where it's coming from and why it's that, you don't get it. You'll never understand it. Which is why in the first episode, after he gets caught and he's being interrogated, he, like, the woman who's interrogating him keeps asking him questions and clarification on a lot of things, because there's the story that the news has spun on whatever it is, and then there's the truth. And she's trying to get down to the truth of it. And it is really... So, like, the main protagonist, the main hurdle, I guess, they have to overcome at the moment is in his high school, there is a volleyball teacher who is... He should not be a teacher. Just plain and simple. He abuses his kids. Like, I mean, physically abuses. He was launching volleyballs at another kid, and he ended up breaking. He wrote it off as an accident, but the main character is one of his friends. He ended up breaking his leg, essentially, or at least fracturing it, and he's able to walk on it, but he was a runner. He can't run anymore, but he made it look like it was an accident. And it was written off like that. And so he has pretty much made the high school his castle, it's his domain. And so when the main character and his friend end up going to the alternate world, that's what the school ends up turning into, is a castle.
Okay.
And there are like guards inside of it. And that volleyball teacher is really messed up because he's pretty much in his drawers, his underwear. But he's got like a crown on and a kingly cape on, and he rules it. But that's because that's the reason why. He is ruling this school. Yeah. He gets away with everything.
The volleyball teacher was an Olympian.
Yeah, which is why everyone lets him, they trust him, they believe him, but he is manipulating. He is just bad in every sense of the word. Now, unlike Mahou Shoujo Site, as far as showing how things are bad, this one does it the correct way. You know, they give you hints, they kind of let you know things, but they don't never really come out and just do a lot of it, you know? And the girl, she's not in the picture on that one, but a girl that I know is going to end up joining his team, she wants her friend to succeed. I don't think she really understands the extent of the abuse that her friend is taking while being in the volleyball team. But she is basically being blackmailed because if she doesn't do what the volleyball teacher says, her friend who's on the team is going to get kicked off. So like there's just a lot of just bad stuff going on here. And she's trying to do whatever, they're trying to do whatever they can. And they're introducing new characters. The main character got his powers and abilities, and his friend got his within the first 2 episodes, actually 2 or 3 episodes. And they're trying to right the wrongs that have been committed now at this point. Mm-hmm. At one point, they end up going into the alternate dimension where the castle's at, and they see one of the. It's not the real person. It's what they call a shadow of the person, because it's a mental projection basically. And you see the person hanging upside down with just like their pants on. That's it, and they're getting like this machine is just pegging them in the chest and stomach area with volleyballs over and over and over again. And that's just the mental projection of what is going on, the abuse that these kids are handling or taking because of this. So I imagine things are going to escalate further. I imagine there's a reason why he was in that casino and what they were taking at that time. And we'll eventually get up to that point and understand that. We're just not there yet. So there's a lot of mental behind the scenes things, a lot of things you got to think about and understand and infer and go along with. But if you can do that, it's really good.
Okay.
It's just not going to be one of those ones that you can like sit back after a long day and just like veg to, because if you don't actually think about what's going on and the reasons behind it, you're going to get lost. So.
Okay. I wonder how close the story is to the game.
That I don't know. But I mean, the way that they do it, and I haven't played a Persona since Persona 3, and I didn't even complete that one all the way through. But since then, and having watched it, there's a lot of similarities, a lot of things that they're taking from that. So, from the series at least. Mm-hmm. So I know it's staying at least pretty truthful and honest to it.
Okay. Cool. Well, I watched the first episode, and like I couldn't tell what happened when. And then when it got to the castle, and I could see like the Olympian, how they see him as like the ruler, he can do whatever he wants. I was just like,
mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't think Persona's for me. Like, I like Trinity Soul, or at least I did back in the day. This one I'm like, not sure.
Yeah.
But
yeah, not for everyone, but I think it has its merits. So
cool.